We are tracking developments today in a potential deal for the hostages still being held in Gaza. And Abby Kugathasan has the details on what we are learning to this hour. Abby, good morning.
Good morning, Heather. This latest proposal was worked out over the weekend in Paris by officials from the United States, Qatar, Egypt, and Israel. And this proposal has now been received by Hamas officials. Hamas's chief Ismail Haniyeh says they're studying it now, they're looking it over, and that he will head to Cairo for further discussions. Here's what we know about this possible deal. It includes a 6-week pause in fighting. There are reports that it could include several dozen Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian detainees, similar to the deal that we saw in November. And the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called this potential deal a strong one. Let's have a listen.
I believe the proposal is a strong one and a compelling one that, again, offers some hope that we can get back to this process. But Hamas will have to make its own decision.
The Qatari Prime Minister, who also serves as the Foreign Minister, Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, says they're in a better place now than they were just a few weeks ago. He says it might lead to a permanent ceasefire in the future, and it looks like they'll work towards such a ceasefire during the proposed 45-day pause in fighting. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to reject calls for a permanent ceasefire, and now a far-right politician within his coalition government, I should say, is threatening to bring down that government if a reckless deal is made. That message coming from National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, who attended a rally this past weekend calling for Jewish settlements to be established in Gaza. Now, we know there is some anger inside Israel about the ongoing situation with regard to hostages. That nearly 4 months since the hostages were taken, more than 100 have not been freed. We saw some demonstrators, including families of hostages, block the road to the Defense Ministry in Tel Aviv recently. Now, it is worth mentioning Hamas officials have again said today the IDF must leave Gaza and the IDF must stop its military offensive there. And if we're looking beyond this deal and into the long term, Western nations, including the United States, Canada, the UK, of course, nations of the EU, back a two-state solution. And just recently, British Foreign Secretary David Cameron saying London may recognize the state of Palestine, not eventually as part of a final peace deal, Heather, but even earlier to ensure that this process leads to an irreversible peace. That's what he called it.